Hello, and thank you for your purchase. In this video, we will be covering the annual budget package. At the bottom of your screen is where all of our tabs are. These tabs include the instructions and setup, annual dashboard, annual totals, a budget tab for each month of the year, bill calendar, emergency funds, sinking funds, debt snowball, investment calculator, home affordability, and net worth. First, let's review instructions and setup. Here is where we'll find the initial setup and step-by-step instructions to our pages. To set up the spreadsheet, enter in the names of your accounts here. It is very important you do not delete the placeholder. Just type over them. Otherwise, you will need to start over with a fresh copy, as this will cause errors in your graphs. You're allowed up to 12 accounts. Let's enter in Bank of America over the account placeholder. We'll add another account to represent our cash on hand. We'll call it Cash. That's it for setup. Nice and simple. Once you're done with your setup, you're now ready to start working on your monthly budget tab. In this section, we will review the monthly budget tab. If you've purchased the annual dashboard package, you'll have all 12 months available. Start at your desired month. Otherwise, the first tab is called Budget tab. First, let's review the sections of the tab, and then we'll start to plan out our budget. At the top, you'll find the month and year. If you've purchased the monthly or one-tab packages, you can select the appropriate month. The year can be changed in all versions. To the right, you'll find your total income, total expenses, needs, wants, savings, and what you have left to budget and left to spend. Below are the charts which will populate as we begin filling out our budget. We'll be able to see this soon. Here you can see the income summary table, bills, expenses, debt, subscriptions, and savings summary table. Here is the financial summary table that auto-populates as we fill in our budget. It shows an overview of what you plan to spend and earn for each category and what you actually spent and earned. This table also contains the rollover field. However, that is entered manually. Below is a distribution summary of your needs, wants, savings, and debts. Below that is the Financial Insight Summary table. Here you can track your spending habits for a specific date range. Here you'll see the Account Summary table and Account Transfer Tracker. Below the Account Transfer Tracker is your daily spending summary. Next to this section is the Transaction Tracker, where you'll fill in your transactions. And finally, the Spending Summary table, with a graph that will show your top 20 expenses for the month. Now that we've reviewed all the sections of the sheet, let's go ahead and start planning out a budget. First, let's enter our current account information. Scroll down to find the Account Summary table and enter in the initial balance for that account. Here, we'll add the current balance for our Bank of America account, and here we'll add the amount of cash we have on hand. Notice the table below, the Accounts Transfer Tracker. This allows you to transfer between accounts during that month. To transfer cash to our Bank of America account, we'll enter the date, select a transfer of cash to our Bank of America account, and then enter the amount you wish to transfer. Note how the balance of the Bank of America account increased and the balance of cash decreased. Next, let's scroll up and start working on our income summary table. We'll type in Paycheck 1 here, type in the date of pay, and the planned amount. The actual field will fill in automatically once we use the transaction tracker. Let's add another income, side hustle. enter the date, and the planned amount. We don't have any rollover to account for, but if you did, you would enter it in the financial summary table here. Next, let's plan out our bills for the month. We'll start with rent. Enter the date the rent is due. Say our rent costs $900, and we'll assign this as a need since housing is a necessity. We'll add a phone bill, the due date, the planned amount, we'll say $150, and assign it as a need. Now let's move over to expenses. We'll add grocery to the list. We'll plan to spend $500 for groceries and assign the category as a need. Next, we'll add takeout. We'll plan to spend $150, but we'll assign this as a want. Lastly, we'll enter in a debt payment for our student loan of $110. This is assigned as a debt. You'll keep doing this until you've listed all your income, bills, expenses, debts, subscriptions, and savings. Notice at the top, our graphs will begin to auto-populate as we fill in more data. Now that we've added income and planned out a few expenses, let's head down to the transaction tracker. First, enter the date of the transaction. Then select what the transaction is. In this case, we'll pick side hustle. You'll see the category will automatically be assigned as income. Next, we'll enter in the amount, let's say $750, and assign which account it is depositing into. The description field can be used for any personal notes you might have. Let's add another entry, this time for grocery. Enter the date of the purchase. The amount will say $300, and the account used for the expense. We'll add a phone bill, select the date. For the amount, we'll say $150, and the account used. Lastly, our takeout. Select the date. The amount was $70, and the account used. Now that we have some data, let's review our dashboards. Scrolling up, you'll see an overview of your expenses. Next to it, the cash flow summary graph showing your planned budget for each category compared to your actual earnings and spending. Notice our planned amount for groceries was $500, but we actually only spent $300. The table will show you the difference between your planned and actual amount. From there, you can see your needs, wants, which show your planned and actual spending. The balance overview chart shows your overall balance for the month. Finally, if you scroll over, you'll see the graph for the top 20 expenses begin to populate. As you fill in your transaction tracker, this will adjust and update. This concludes our review of the monthly tab. If you have any questions, please send us a message. Happy budgeting! In this section, we will be reviewing the Bill Calendar tab. This calendar displays our bills, income, and subscriptions as we have inputted into the Monthly Budget tab. If you've purchased the annual dashboard package, you can select the month you wish to view by selecting the drop-down menu here. Otherwise, it will auto-populate. The calendar will automatically update and cross out paid bills and income received based on the input from your transaction tracker. You'll see a display of total income, total expenses, average daily income, average daily spending, and your needs, wants, savings, and debt distributions. If you would like to print the bill calendar, use your mouse to highlight A2 to S42 on the page. Select File and go to Print. From here, choose Selected Tiles. If you're using Excel, this will say Current Selection. Change page orientation to Landscape. Change the scale to Fit to Page. Then select Print and you're good to go. This concludes our review of the bill calendar. If you have any questions, please send us a message. Happy budgeting! Here we will review the Emergency Funds tab. This tab has several sections. Let's begin at the top. Here you can assign how many months you'd like your emergency fund to cover. Here is a review of the fund balance, the fund goal amount, and the progress you've made toward that goal. Next is a distribution chart showing each component of your fund and a progress bar. This tab automatically populates based on your needs assignment from the Monthly Budget tab. Feel free to adjust as needed. As an example, let's increase our grocery amount by 50. The dashboard has now begun to update. If we switch the number of months, the goal amount changes accordingly. Our current progress is 0%. Let's change that. Go to the contribution tracker, enter the date of your contribution. Let's say we budgeted $500 for the month. We'll put that in the planned column. But actually, we could only contribute $450. That will go in the actual field. Now the dashboard has updated and we've made some progress. Keep tracking your contributions and make adjustments as necessary, and good luck saving for an emergency fund. This concludes the Emergency Fund tab review. If you have any questions, please send us a message. Happy budgeting! Here we'll review the Sinking Funds tab. This tab is used to track various savings goals. It includes your total sinking funds goal amount, the total monthly payment, the amount left to save, and how much you have saved. The Sinking Funds Summary table is where you will input your various savings goals. Let's enter a new sinking fund. We'll save up for a vacation. Enter the goal amount, which is how much the vacation is going to cost. Then enter the planned monthly savings goal. In this case, we'll save $200 per month towards our vacation. If we have any money to get started, we'll add it in the starting amount field. Let's say we have $800 to start us off. If you don't have any money to start, that's okay too. Just enter 0 in that field. The rest of the columns begin to populate, showing the amount you have left to save, how many months it will take to save up, as well as the date you will reach your savings goal. Track up to 22 goals with this spreadsheet. If you are new to the sinking fund saving method, there's a chapter in our ebook all about it. This concludes the Sinking Funds tab review. If you have any questions, please send us a message. Happy budgeting! Here we will be reviewing the Debt Snowball tab. The Debt Snowball strategy is a debt payment method in which you pay off your debts in order of smallest balance to largest balance. In this tab, you can track up to 20 different debts. You can see your current debt load at the top, your total monthly payments, how much of that monthly payment is interest, and your target debt-free date based on your inputs. Here is the overall debt balance summary, and next to it are the corresponding graphs that break down each debt. Let's go ahead and enter in a few examples. First, we'll set our start month. In this case, we'll enter a date from a few months back to showcase how the tracker works. Let's add an entry called credit card. Enter the balance of $2,000. Minimum payment of $50. An interest rate of 19%. Notice the table below automatically populates. Your total interest owed is calculated, and so is your debt-free date. Let's also add in a car loan. Enter the balance of $35,000, minimum payment of $500, and interest at 5%. Notice how once the credit card is paid off, the debt payment automatically gets added to the car payment, and thus the snowball. Now let's go back to the overall debt balance table and enter in our planned extra monthly payment. This amount is on top of our minimum payments. Our extra monthly payment will be $300. Notice how the debt-free dates begin to change. If you need to adjust this number, use the debt balance summary table. For example, say in January you only had $200 instead of the planned $300. In the adjustment field, type -100, indicating that we are short $100. The fields will adjust accordingly. In February, we have $500 for our extra monthly payment instead of the planned $300. We would put $200 in the adjustment field, indicating that we are up $200. Continue to use this tool and knock out those debts. This concludes the Debt Snowball tab review. If you have any questions, please send us a message. Happy budgeting! Here we will review the Investment Calculator tab. This tab can estimate the return of up to 5 investments. Disclaimer: this does not substitute professional financial advice. We recommend that you speak to a financial advisor for all investments. At the top, you'll find the estimated end balance of all your investments, total contributions made, and the total interest earned on the investments. The first section is a complete overview of all investments, and the subsequent sections are your individual investments. Let's go ahead and enter in a few examples. For investment 1, let's set our starting contribution of $1,500, our planned monthly contribution of $200, and an estimated rate of return of 7%. Next, let's enter another investment with a starting contribution of $500, a monthly contribution of $50, and an estimated rate of return of 5%. We will enter our investment horizon of 10 years, and the tab will calculate all values for us automatically. Now our dashboard displays the end balance, contributions made, and the interest earned on each investment. This concludes the Investment Calculator review. If you have any questions, please send us a message. Happy budgeting! Here we will review the Home Affordability tab. This tab uses common strategies to calculate home affordability. These strategies include taking a percentage of your gross income, using your debt-to-income ratio, the gross income multiplier, and taking a percentage of your net income. You can see that there's errors right now, but as we enter our data, this will change. Let's start by entering in our gross and net incomes. Next, we'll make some assumptions on what our expenses will be once we are homeowners. Now let's fill in our asset contribution table. Let's say we are selling a house and enter in these values. Moving down to the monthly household debt, we'll fill in our debt load. And finally, we'll fill in the financing. Below these tables are the gross income allocation percentage, the percentage of debt to income ratio, the net income allocation percentage, and the multiplier used. Now that we've filled in the data, the sheet will automatically calculate our most affordable home from the various methods. You can also review the output of each method with a breakdown of all the information. One last thing. To showcase an important error, let's set our minimum required down payment to a very high amount. For the sake of this video, let's do 100%. Notice the message. This indicates our down payment is too low and needs to be increased. This concludes the Home Affordability tab review. If you have any questions, please send us a message. Happy budgeting! Here we will review the Net Worth tab. The Net Worth tab gives a complete overview of your net worth month over month. You will see charts here showing net worth trends, asset and liabilities distribution, and your total asset compared to total liabilities. This dashboard captures your net worth for the selected month. The tracker allows you to change the date so you can see progress made throughout the year. To start tracking your net worth, enter your current net worth in the Start field. At the end of each month, enter in your updated net worth value. Let's see an example. Fill in Bank of America for our bank account section, trading account for our investments, and a house for our properties. Next, we will fill in our starting values for each of those. Let's move down to liabilities and fill in our short-term debt. For this example, we'll add a credit card, and for long-term debt, we'll add a car loan. Next, we'll fill in our starting values for each of those. Now we will assume it is the end of January. We will fill in the values of each asset and liability. As the year progresses, you will continue to fill in your values at the end of the month. The asset and liability distribution chart will represent the month selected. The net worth and asset versus liability chart will show the yearly overview. This concludes the net worth review. If you have any questions, please send us a message. Happy budgeting! In this section, we will be covering the monthly annual dashboard and annual totals tab. At the top, you will see your annual income, annual expenses, your average daily income and spending, and your total net worth. Below is a chart that shows total income compared to total expenses month by month, a financial summary of your expenses, and your annual planned budget compared to what you actually spent. Next, you'll see an area that shows your average needs, wants, savings, and debts over the year with a month-by-month breakdown. Next to this section is a month-by-month breakdown of your bills, expenses, debts, subscriptions, and savings. Below these sections, you will find your top 5 needs, wants, savings, and debts, bills, expenses, debts, subscriptions, and savings for the year. The Annual Totals tab shows a table breakdown for your income and expenses, as well as your needs, wants, savings, and debts. This concludes our review of the Annual Dashboard and Annual Totals tab. If you have any questions, please send us a message. Happy budgeting!